In a world where it's hard to find real, authentic stories, we're here to share the true heart of the trucking industry and the soul of country music. We dive into life on the road and capture the essence of small town America. From the brotherhood of truckers to behind the scenes at NASCAR.
We're the last of the cowboys to giddy up gone boys. 18 wheels on the concrete, it's a slow and down breed, rolling like Jesse James.
We're going to make storytelling, industry insight, and musical highlights. This is the Road Show with Tony Justice and Friends, brought to you by our friends at Fitzgerald Truck Parts. Y'all come on, let's take a ride. When you're out here on the big road, putting in the miles, you sure don't have time to be waiting on parts, much less overpay for them. Fitzgerald's Truck Parts is your go-to for quality parts and fast service when you don't have time to wait. Knowledgeable people, fair prices, and no BS. So truck it up on over to FitzgeraldTruckParts.com and use code Tony at checkout for 10% off your order. This is just for my listeners. Fitzgerald Truck Parts. They're here to keep you moving forward. Hey everybody, this is Tony Justice. Welcome to the Road Show with me and my friends. And man, I'm really excited today to have a really good friend of mine on from Australia. Today, we've got Australians' very own rock country powerhouse, your 7-time Golden Guitar nominee. You just charted #1 single in Australia with the Moonshine. You even teamed up with Colt Ford on that. So, hey, how's it going? Great to have you on the show. And
hi,
always
Tony.
good to see you, man. You got a lot happening.
Good to see you. Oh my gosh, I think we've known each other for around 10 years now or more.
It's been a minute,
Yeah.
It's really been. I think I met you. I can't remember where I first met you. It was either Louisville or Dallas. There was one of the two, either at not GBATS, but GATS, the Great American Truck Show.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one, but it was one of those. I'm quite sure of it. And I really missed the truck show out in Dallas. It was a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of other folks out there that missed that truck show as well. Miss seeing you around at it for sure. It was a lot of fun. A lot of good times and memories were made out there.
Absolutely. No, and then you introduced me to Moonshine.
I would never do that.
I'm like, what the heck is Moonshine?
Hey, everybody needs to know what Moonshine is. It's a good experience. Long as you manage your amounts correctly.
Well, it's funny because like all those years ago, I've talked about you in so many interviews since I've done the album called Moonshine. I was able to say, well, actually, my friend Tony Justice and his wife Misty introduced me to Moonshine back over 10 years ago. And now, because in Australia, it's not really a thing, but here it is now, but it wasn't back then. It was very rare to have it here. So there you go to all the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, Moonshine is what it is. It really came along at a time where America, our economy was terrible, and people were, making that stuff and selling it to just survive. And it's really a historic drink, and every time you take a drink of it, you're tasting history. And it's that's the cool part of Moonshine. I think I got drunk on Moonshine once in my life, and that will never happen again. I promise you that. I don't know if they cooked that stuff in an old Model A radiator or what, but I think I got a hold of some bad stuff. It did me in for about a week. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother podcast. We'll talk about Moonshine sometime, but there's a lot of history. A lot of people don't realize the history, along with that drink, and what was going on during the Prohibition and all that kind of stuff. It was a pretty wild times here in America, as you call it, America.
Yeah, you're trying to say it like an Australian.
Yes, America. I can't. You say it. I can't say it right.
America.
No, you don't. You say America all the time, like ER.
Oh, I don't know.
You do. Well, you said it right now. Well, listen, man, a lot going on. You were just over here stateside not too long ago, and you went back, and you're coming back again here before too long?
Yeah. So I'm heading back over beginning of September. So to do some more recording, which is great.
You're gonna do some recording in Nashville?
Yeah. So I'm working with a producer, Marty Fredrickson, who produced Aerosmith and wrote Jaded and has worked with other artists like Carrie Underwood, Faith Hill and stuff like that. So for this little Australian, it's been a huge honor to work with such a legend. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really
no doubt.
excited. Yeah.
Cool. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear the magic come together and see what you guys record and all the stuff you're writing. It's always exciting to hear new stuff from you. And as with many other artists, I always love hearing the new stuff, man, because it's like this is the next 8 months of music from each artist, whoever's putting something out. And it's always an exciting time. We're going in the studio hopefully about December or January this year for my new album as well. We're writing for that. So it's always, I tell people, man, it's about 4% of the music business is the part that I enjoy: the writing, the performing, the recording, and you're just getting to meet people. And the rest of it's like running a business. It's all the same headaches as running any other business, dealing with taxes and, just trying to stay afloat from day to day. So for that very little bit of excitement and fun that you really enjoy, there's a lot of other stuff that goes with it. And you have to be genuinely passionate about it to stay with it, and you've been doing this for a long time. So it's obvious that passion is there, within you, burns inside of you just like it does me. And, I grew up around music, and I know you did too. And both of us grew up on gospel music, and you even had some, opera in the mix. So how did that shape, your early love, for performance and the recording, writing? How did all that early musical family, growing up around it, from gospel music to local stage, how has that shaped the love for, your performance and your love for the music?
Yeah, so my mum was a gospel singer, but she was opera trained. And then my grandfather on my dad's side was musical theatre, but we all sang in church. So grew up singing in church, and we were always involved because my maiden name is actually Carter. And so we used to get called the Von Carters because all of us used to get up on stage and we'd perform. So it wasn't just like in a church environment, you're singing to the Lord, but with entertainment, you're performing to the audience. You know what I mean? So it's a very different skill, which I learnt both being in a worship team. And then I also was more of an entertainer like my grandfather, really. Whereas mum was more singing church and leading worship and stuff like that. So I guess when I started singing when I was about 5, and again, we were just such a musical family. We were always singing, always doing performances wherever we possibly could. Invite us over for dinner, we'd get up and sing. That's just how we were. And mum and dad always used to say, "Jayne, stop showing off." And I'd be like, "I'm here, I'm ready to perform wherever I go." So I did that. I grew up, and then I discovered Aussie pub rock, which is your AC/DC and bands like that are well known in America as well as Australia. And I was like, oh my gosh. But my dad was a country music singer. So it was like this. We sang gospel. Dad loved country, so he'd play country a lot in the house. And then I would go and see bands, because back when I was young, bands touring around this country was normal. It was like every day of the week there was a band at a pub. So I would go and check out all these bands, and then I decided that's what I wanted to do, was sing more rock. So I joined a band, and that was kind of how it all started. Then I decided I would start writing. And when I started writing, that was when it all shifted, because my love of rock, but growing up listening to country music with my dad, basically when I started writing, they meshed the two. So I thought I was writing rock, and my friends are all going, "No, actually that's country." So that was what made my sound different. I didn't realize it at the time. And really the gospel singing was the thing that, I had singing lessons, but it definitely, like yourself, it just taught you a skill of how to sing and how to get different sounds out of your voice. And yeah, I guess that's why I've had a career. So I've been doing country music 20 years next year, which is just crazy.
Well, the Moonshine album journey, because you ended up answering my 2 follow-up questions to that first.
Sorry about
that. Was at what point did you go from church singer to rock on the Aussie pub circuit? So at what point in your life did you realize, this is what I want to do? You grew up singing gospel with your parents, your mom, and all that, and you're starting to learn this other form of music out here, in the pub circuit and all that. But so what point in your life did you decide that this is what I want to do versus what I grew up on, and
Right.
why?
Yeah, and I think for me I wanted to be a performer, and growing up singing in bars and pubs, you instantly had to learn how to work the crowd, keep them engaged in your show. And so it was really probably when I was about 14 I put my first band together. We were really bad, by the way. 14, but I was the lead singer, and funny enough, someone found an old cassette and I sound actually really good. And I was like, clearly I was the one that was going to be the musician. And the rest of the band was really bad. And none of them have become musicians or singers. But then it was basically, I think I was 18 or something. And one of my pastors, funny, from my church said, I think you need to go out and really learn your craft. And you're not going to learn that singing in church, which I'm so thankful for, because that's where I learnt my skill is in pubs in Sydney, and that's where I learned how to be an entertainer. And then by the time I was in my early 20s, I was, funny enough, singing in pubs and doing that sort of style of singing. But then also my youth band here in Australia, Youth Alive it was called, said, we want you to come and sing as the lead singer of the Youth Alive band. So then by the time I was 21, I was traveling all throughout America and Europe, singing in a gospel band, but I was sort of always doing both. But realized as I got older, I just went, well, I love doing the Youth Alive stuff, but mind you, I was getting older. So then I was out of the Youth Alive band, and then I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go full time into music, and the rest is history. So it's nice.
So rest as they say is history. And then, like you said, finding your genre. Because you blend country, rock. Even kind of spaghetti western and prohibition era kind of vibes. And that's just wild how that all came together for you. That's not like something you can plan and have all those pieces come together to create just kind of your genre, your sound. And it's pretty cool. Just how that all happened for you. It's not like really something you created, even though you worked all this time on it. You just kind of fell into those slots.
I know, and you've known me before I did those albums. For those of you who don't know how I know Tony, was because I did the trucking songs, and that even like I'm known for trucking songs, and that's why I got to go to America and tour with you and go to all those truck shows, because I used to be a hairdresser for a day job, and I was cutting a lady's hair, and and she was telling me about her cousin who was a truck driver. And so I wrote this song called Cousin Jude. And then the next minute, my whole career blows up, and I'm known as the trucker chick of Australia. But it was because I did grow up around trucks. So I got off track, but it'll lead to where I'm going to answer the question. I grew up with my family having trucks, so it was a common understanding I had of the trucking industry. So I did that for a long time, but then it wasn't till, like I said, you knew me when I was doing the country rock, and inside of that country rock albums, I would put one or two trucking songs on the records, and that was great, and I'm thankful for that era. But creatively was when it was during COVID lockdown. I was like, all right, what am I going to do now? I'm stuck in this house. What am I going to do? And then I wrote the song Wanted, and I knew I wanted, because I love one word albums. I like Jayne Denham. Like, I always think of how you'd say it. Jayne Denham. Calamity was the first album with one word. Then it was Jayne Denham Renegade. And then I'm like, Jayne Denham Wanted. Whoa, that sounds tough and cool. It's totally on brand of my style of country. And and then I wrote the song, and I was like, oh my gosh, imagine if I did a whole record based around an old spaghetti western movie meets country rock, modern day country rock. And I rang my producers in Nashville, Brian White and Brian Bunn, and said, look, I've got this crazy idea. Can we do the whole record thematically around that? The songs need to be under that umbrella. Let's create a character. I'll get a costume made. Let's put sound effects in the record. And I actually remember telling you all this before I even released it. And you were like, you're doing what? And Yeah, and so that kind of created a whole it's sort of like I pivoted, I guess. Like as an artist, I think sometimes you want to paint this picture over here and then you might want to go and paint this picture over here. And so I thought, let's do something creative, totally different. And I never ever expected that it was going to then get nominated for Album of the Year here in Australia because of the creative picture I guess I painted for that record. And then I love delving into the history of music of that spaghetti Western era. So then with the Moonshine album, again, I actually did all this. And again, it's a very American thing. So it was fun for me as an Aussie to then research the Moonshine era, which is what you were talking about, listen to the music that was around at that time, take that musical influence and put it on a modern day country rock record. So it's been really fun just to do those two projects. And the next album probably won't be like that at all. It was just fun to do something where I could have a play with the history of music really and put a modern day twist on it.
Yeah, I mean, for those out there that are in the music, it's just a constant and transition and growing into I still work on my sound. It's like never ending, and it's always a task and a job and something we always strive to really land on something that's it. You're always working on that, but anyway, that I don't know that ever ends. And it's cool though because it's something to strive towards and to work towards and set goals and things like that. So, but anyway, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and talk a little bit about some of your trucking music because we got a lot of truckers out there that tune in, and we'll talk about that a little bit and then talk a little bit more about your big number one that you had down there, your big single Moonshine, and what it was like working with Colt Ford. We'll dive into that. So you guys stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a break. Give a shout out to our sponsors, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, hit share, that little share switch. That's appreciated too. We'll be back in just a few minutes. To all my brothers and sisters of the highway, if you're tired of wrestling with those tangled airlines and your power cord that run from your semi-truck and connect to your trailer, then Easy Claw's got you covered. Not only does the Easy Claw system keep your lines and hoses organized, but it also keeps them from dragging and chafing, thus preventing breakdowns, expensive repairs, DOT fines, or even worse, being shut down by our good buddies down there at the Chicken Coop. So let's be less stressed, safer, and compliant, y'all, by checking out my friends at EasyClaw.com. For over 20 years, my buddy Clifton with Crossroads Towing and Truck Repair has proudly served the trucking industry with reliable, family-owned service. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get you moving again, safe and sound. Just call 270-773-4000 and tell them Tony sent you. Hey, everybody. Diesel Pride believes the best way to respect all of us American truckers is to showcase everyday road trucks on their shirts. I love mine. Visit dieselpride.rocks for the best trucker apparel. Tell them I sent you. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Road Show with Tony Justice and friends. We're hanging out with my good friend, Miss Jayne Denham, having a great time. We've been blessed to work a lot in the past. We actually shot a video for a song and did a duet together, Long Distance Love. And it was funny because we had the song recorded. And if I remember right, COVID hit. You shot the scenes for the video in Australia, and I shot the scenes for the video in America. And then we put it all together to try to make it look like we were in the same place. And put the video out.
Long distance love.
It was true to it was definitely true to the title for sure,
Not that you were going to drive your truck to Australia, but yeah.
Yeah, but man, that was a lot of fun, and the video's got, I don't know how many views it's got now, and the song's done pretty well.
Great song.
A lot of streams.
Great song.
It's a great song. We got to work with Jerry Sally on writing some of that, and Jeff Sylvie. So it was fun. We need to do another one. That would be pretty fun. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what does it come to, your trucking connection, as an ambassador for women in trucking and, a regular at major truck shows, that you played a lot. You've got a special tie to that world. What draws you to the audience as far as truckers go and that, that part of the music and that industry? What's your driving point with that? I mean, I'm not wording the question right, but trucking is like, a lot of people look at it as a job. People that's in it, we understand it's a way of life. And, there's no industry that's had as many songs written about it than the trucking industry. So how does it fuel your music? I mean, your connections and the experiences you've had with truck shows and how your music and trucking go together. I mean, how do you feel that relationship happened and why is it still going for you?
Yeah. So, as I was saying a little bit earlier on the podcast, I wrote my first song about a girl that drove a truck. And I thought, oh my gosh, how cool is that? Like, this girl, I'd heard she looked like Sandra Bullock. She drove a truck. She was gorgeous. She always just looked amazing. And I was just like, that's like the coolest thing ever, like hearing this story. So I wrote this song, embellished it, thought it was like over the top as a song, as you understand, Tony, you can blow a story up and make it bigger than the original thinking. And then I actually got to meet her, and she did look like Sandra Bullock. She did drive an absolutely beautiful Kenworth, and she met me in the Blue Mountains here in Australia. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought she was going to be like this chick driving a truck with 10 chickens on the back or something, and it was this beautiful truck, and we've become really good friends. So I actually put her in the video clip for Cousin Jude. It's actually her, and that was my very first trucking song I'd ever written. But I grew up where my family had trucks with their business. So on my days off from hairdressing, I would often go for a trip. I loved it, being up in the truck and seeing parts of Australia that I would never have seen without being with my family in a truck. So I had that connection already, but I didn't know a lot of people other than my family that had trucks for their products that they had in their business. Anyway, so after that song, it's sort of like actually it was Travis Sinclair, who was the big trucking, you know him too, Tony, here in Australia. Is like, Jayne, you got to keep writing trucking songs. And I'm not a truck driver, but I'm a songwriter, and I always loved writing from a perspective of looking at other people. So then I wrote Trucker Chicks. Then I wrote Black Coffee and White Lines with Jerry Sally again. Grew Up Round Trucks is probably one of the biggest ones. Stacks. Stacks is actually my biggest song on Spotify. So, and again, we wrote that about
Great
truck stacks.
song.
And
Y'all haven't heard Stacks? Look up Jayne Denham.
oh, actually, the biggest song? That is my biggest song, but I think my favorite song to sing ever in my show is Addicted to the Diesel. That is by far my favorite. And that's like, I end every show on Addicted to the Diesel. So it was kind of by default, I fell into it. But because of that, I then got to meet all these people in the community. I got to do truck shows here all over Australia. Then I get to go to America and work with you guys and meet all these Americans. And it was a real honor to fly the flag for the trucking community, because I'd get to meet them, hear their stories, encourage them. And when I wrote Addicted to the Diesel, I actually said to the guys I was writing with, I want to write a song that keeps truck drivers awake. Like, if they're tired and they don't, they don't want to be driving, I want them to be, I'll put on Addicted to the Diesel. It'll keep them awake. And so that's sort of, I said, let's put a little bit of an AC/DC flavor in there. And if I had $1 for every time someone's told me that, I really feel like that was my job, to write songs, to encourage people to, like, even now, my husband and I moved to the country, and my next door neighbor's a truck driver. And when he comes home on the weekends, we get so excited. It's like, Peter's home. This is so cool. So now I'm seeing it from another point of view as well, because he's a long distance truck driver. So yeah, that's kind of how it all came about. And yeah, I'm really honored to. And I was telling you a couple of weeks ago that I'm actually written another trucking song that I'm going to release next year, which I'm really excited. It's been fun doing these other projects, but it'll be fun to get back into the world of trucking and have some fun back there. So yeah, looking forward to that coming out.
Important. I mean, I know I appreciate anybody that writes songs about trucking, and keeping that. I mean, it's just trucking music. It's its own thing. I mean, you have country, but it's been around for a while. I always tell people that the best trucking songs have already been written and recorded. It's just that everybody's heard them a million times. Songs like
right.
You spent them down in Teddy Bear. 6 Days on the Road, and the list goes on and on. Like Teddy Bear. I just go on and on with great country songs, country singers that sung them, great writers, and the But, about, 2008, 9, 10, that was fading. There was some people doing some stuff, but they was having trouble getting any traction, for whatever reason. I don't know why. It wasn't because they wasn't talented. But there just wasn't nothing in the trucking happening with music anymore. I was like, I just seen it like it was fading away, and I was out there trucking and just writing songs all the time, going, man, it'd be cool. I never dreamed any of my stuff would make it outside the cab of that Peterbilt 379. I'm just writing songs about what I was doing, and we got blessed, and now we're trying to, people like you and myself, and then there's some other folks out there as well. You said his name earlier. I know it as good as Travis Sinclair. Bill Weaver was doing. Unfortunately, he passed away, but just seeing these songwriters that want to keep that legacy going of trucking songs and music, and writing them and putting them out there, and because the truckers love it. And I think one of the reasons why there's so many songs written about this industry is because how it just really, the job itself relates to the journey of life.
Exactly, 100%. That's what Black Coffee and White Lines is all about. The song I wrote with Jerry Sally. It's all about that. It's the journey of being on the road, but the journey of life. And then Grew Up Round Trucks is another song that I get is probably another one that so many people talk to me about, because they come up to me at my shows and just say, I grew up with my dad driving a truck and now I drive a truck, and I've observed that it's just often a generational kind of a job. So it was an honor to have that song and be able to celebrate the fact, and people relate to it because it's what they do. It's who they are. And again, here in Australia, it was similar what you're saying. It was sort of like a trendy thing back in the day in the 70s. 60s and 70s and 80s, maybe there was one or two, but it wasn't really a thing. Then Travis started, and then I didn't even know Travis when I wrote my first trucking song. But yeah, I'm really honored that I get to write, because you and Travis write it from a we know it, we live it type of, when you write songs, whereas for me, I'm looking from the outside in, which is again a nice perspective as a songwriter. I have to ask everyone, when I write a song, I got to check.
Yeah.
I go, Does this make sense? Have I got this technical thing right? Because you don't want to get it wrong.
No, it's, well, that's another thing too, as an artist, a songwriter, a singer. I mean, you go in and you put yourself out there in the public's eye and to their ear, and you're like, oh boy, am I going to get bashed and thrashed for this? Or are people going to like it? I mean, it's a nerve wracking.
It is, totally.
Whether it's from the writing side, or then if you wrote it and performing it, then you got to worry about both. Well, you can write a great song, if you don't sing it great, then you got to deal with that, or sing it great, but it's not a great written song. You're like, man, I can't win for losing. But it's pretty nerve wracking, as an artist, to record anything and put it out. It's because you're nervous. You want people to like it, so it's pretty crazy. I mean, I know you both can relate to that. So it's thanks for taking that chance and doing what you do and putting it out there, because your stuff's great. We love it, and I know a lot of other people do. So so anyway, talking about the creative process and the storytelling side, you describe albums as musical journeys. Can you walk us through, how visuals, sound effects, real life stories all come together in a song like the Moonshine Raid or Chain Smoking? I mean, can you kind of just, put those links together for the listener and how that kind of works?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So in America, it was very much a thing. You'd go and see shows and there'd be visuals and stuff like that. But here it wasn't a thing. There was only one artist, Lee Kernaghan, who was doing shows with visuals and stuff like that. But with the Wanted album, again, you're in lockdown, you've got nothing to do. I was like, wouldn't it be fun to create a whole show so it's like an experience, which in America, that's not uncommon, but here it was. So I was able to go in and work with some people and create visuals so it looked, when you come to see the show, it was like you were in a spaghetti western movie experience, I guess, which is what I created. Created a character and got a gun holster made and stuff like that. So that was really fun to be able to take my show to the next level. And it's been really nice, because then it was only Lee Kernaghan and myself here in Australia that were doing shows like that. And now it's become a lot more common here in Australia that people have visuals, not as much as mine. Like I have every song pretty much has a different visual, but again, that's just where I wanted to go creatively and with my live show. And I don't always have it, like some shows here in Australia, and I'm sure in America, like you guys as well, sometimes you have a screen, sometimes you don't. So but creatively it was fun to paint a bigger picture and do that sort of thing. So, and with that, like the Moonshine Raid, because I'd done the Wanted album with all the sound effects throughout the album to make it feel like you were listening and you could visualize it like a movie in your head. So that's how we did Wanted. But I didn't want to do that again because I'd already kind of done it on the Wanted album. So with the Moonshine album, I said, let's create like a raid, like a Moonshine Raid. And the album can start with the sound effects and the Moonshine Raid. And so my producer Brian Bunn and I created that together. He created the majority of it, and there's a cop in that bit in the track, and it's Dave. I got my phone and I'm like, Dave, can you pretend you're a cop? He goes, anyway, there's sound effects. And so creatively, again, that was really fun. So Dave's pretty proud that he's on an album. Just quietly, because he doesn't really sing that well. So yeah, that was good. And then Chain Smoking was actually written by Brandy Clark, Trevor Rosen as well. And they sent that to me to go on the Moonshine album because I wanted all the themes of the songs to kind of be a bit badass, a bit renegade, a bit wild, because that was what that record was all about. So it was fun. And again, as a songwriter and finding songs, which I did on the last two albums, we got albums pitched to me for the record from Nashville. It was good because you give them a goalpost and you're like, well, this is the album and it has to fit in this box and it has to have these kind of themes and obviously change it. So on that record as well, I covered a George Strait song called Poison. So that was fun as well. I've never actually recorded a cover before. So creatively, that was really fun to take a George Strait song and put my twist on it. But again, musically fit the record, which is that Moonshine.
But something else we both have in common with Brothers of the Highway.
Yeah,
Recorded by George Strait first, and written by Kim Williams and the guy with can't think of his names, but him and Kim Williams also wrote 3 Wooden Crosses, and I can't think of his name. I know a lot of my own, but anyway, but George Strait cut that song first, and then another Canadian Ragway or somebody like that, or bluegrass group cut, Brothers of the Highway. Then we got to record it, so.
It was very
something else
good.
we got in common, but we're going to take another short break real quick, and I'm sure the next segment, by then I'll remember the other songwriter's name and won't feel like such an idiot. But y'all stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, leave a comment. We love hearing from you, and we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Too many drivers are being hurt on the job. That's why the OnLift system by my friends over at Patriot Lift is a total game changer. It's 100% operated by air. You just hit a button, and you're dropping or hooking your trailer in a matter of seconds. No more straining on that crank handle. No more injuries and no more missed work. Maybe you run a fleet of trucks, and so you're looking at potentially saving thousands of dollars on workman's comp and injury claims. Listen up. Right now, you can get your OnLift system by Patriot Lift for $900 off the regular price by using discount code TJ2025. Take care of your body and your rig and get yourself an OnLift by Patriot Lift. And hey, it's made right here in the good old USA. My good friend Jay and his team at Pride Truck Wash know that truck drivers are the heartbeat of America and its economy. At Pride Truck Wash, their mission is to help those hardworking people do their job in a clean truck. Stop in at a Pride Truck Wash and experience the difference. To learn more, visit pridetruckwash.com. You guys know that I've trusted House products for years, and so should you. For me, it's Diesel Treat for winter, Diesel Lifeline for emergencies, their Diesel Defender for warm weather, and House Multi-Purpose for just about everything else. Visit House products today. As truckers, we drive more miles than anyone else on the highway. As a result, we're at a higher risk of being involved in an accident. If you've been hurt in a wreck, let my good friends at Terry Law Firm help. They know trucks and how to handle truck wreck cases. Reach out to the Terry Law Firm on the web at terry-lawfirm.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Road Show with Tony Justice and friends. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I know I'm enjoying my evening hanging out with one of my great friends here, Jayne Denham from Australia, an amazing songwriter and singer. We've been very fortunate to perform together, record together, shoot a video together, and who knows, maybe one day we'll sing in Australia together, right?
That's it. Bring it on.
A lot of people don't know, back in when we put the song Long Distance Love out and was working together, we had a tour set up in Australia with myself and you and Travis and Claire. You guys worked really hard. We had, release dates on singles at radio, leading up to the tour dates.
The poster was done.
Was it like Wrangler of Australia was looking at sponsoring it, and Kenworth or Peterbilt of Australia, and we had all this stuff planned out, and the COVID hit, so that got washed down the drain.
Yeah, it's a shame. But
yeah,
anyway, we'll do it again.
We need to try to do it again. I agree. And
we got to get you out here, Tony, to drive a road train.
I want to do that. I so want to do that. That would be so much fun. the 27 axles, and those things are crazy. I mean, they're crazy. That would be so cool to do that. So, and you got to do some cool stuff, like with the Ice Road Truckers. You did some stuff with those guys. What was that like?
Oh, that was insane. I mean, Ice Road Truckers is huge here in Australia as well as America. So when I got asked if if you ever want to do a video clip with the Ice Road Truckers, let us know. And I'm like, okay, as if I'm not going to say yes. So Black Coffee and White Lines, I got to fly to Alaska and work with Kerry Hall and Lisa Kelly and Maya Seaver. And oh man, we had the best fun. If anything, like we've talked about with music, it's such a fun industry to be in. Like one of those pinch me moments. One, I never thought I was going to go to Alaska. And two, to work with the Ice Road Truckers was certainly very special. And yeah, a moment in my career that I treasure very much. Because we had heaps of fun too. Like there was just so much fun behind the scenes. So it was good.
I don't think people realize, unless they're in the trucking industry, how close knit of an industry it is, and I don't think a lot of people stop and realize how global that it is. I mean, I knew, before I got into music and having music out there available to the public, I knew they had trucks in Europe, but you don't think of that. You just see the everyday trucks here in America, and you kind of get that vibe. But when we start putting music out, and we're getting all these downloads from Europe and Australia and Germany and Russia. I mean, we've got people that's downloaded my music in Russia. I'm like, what? They hated us over there. Were they downloading my music? It's a trick. Turn your phone off for the board. But I mean, it's insane, and then when Last of the Cowboys hit here, and done so well, and then it spread. I mean, it done well. I realized that when a song does good in America, it does good everywhere.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
It went crazy everywhere, and that really put together for me, just how this industry is global, and same for you. You get on a song in Australia that clicks with that trucking group or the country music group, it could very easily spill over into other countries and even and have that same kind of thing happen for you guys,
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's cool how tight knit of an industry it is. And, I had Lisa Kelly on my first season's podcast. And we had a great time. We laughed and carried on. She's an awesome person and just down to earth, fun to be around. I've been able to be around her at some of the truck shows and just
she's great.
Cool thing about it, no matter we're all just down to earth, blue collar working people, and we're just so close knit. And most everybody in this industry will lift others up. They want to see people succeed and do good. And
exactly.
It's hard to find any better fans than the ones in the trucking world. And it's cool. And I'm sure you notice that same. Tight knit in Australia among the drivers there, in Australia too. And, drivers here in America used to, back when I was riding with my dad, they were highly revered, and that's kind of dwindled away over the years. And then COVID hit, and boy, we was everybody's heroes again for about a year, Oh, they saw them truckers out there, we're just working to keep paying our bills, but things were busy for us. And, we stayed very busy, and we hauled a lot. I guess we hauled a lot of toilet paper, or not a lot or something, but we got everybody's toilet paper back on the shelves. But we were revered again for a little while. Now, COVID's went away, it's kind of right back to the same old thing. So how are the drivers in Australia, looked at for the general public? Are they held as heroes, or looked up to the last of the cowboys, kind of rough and tumble? How's
Exactly.
that
I
work?
think what you said happened here as well. I think a lot of people take it for granted what they do and how hard it is. I don't think people understand, especially in this country. Holy cow, it's like in between towns is a lot of distance. And I mean, I know it's like that in America as well, but this is a very, very big country with a very small population. So they do a lot of miles. It's very different in that way. So, but yeah, I agree. I think they're not, I wouldn't say they're classed as heroes over here, that they should be. And I think COVID did definitely give them a bit of a spotlight on how much we appreciate them and how much they do. But yeah, hopefully people do appreciate it more. I mean, we always cheer when we see a truck, especially my sponsors. Every time I'm like, oh, there's my trucking company. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. One thing that, a lot of things change, things evolve over the years, and I don't guess there's nothing anybody can do to stop some of that. But, one thing going and doing all the trucking shows that I get to do every year, and these convoys that they put on, is the little kids still love big trucks just as much as they did when I was a little kid. That's one thing that that's never changed with this industry, and I love seeing that, and the little arms pumping, getting to blow the horns, and just loving the fact to just look at those big trucks, and you got these kids that, their dad or their grandma or grandpa drives the truck, and they are so proud of that, at these truck shows. It's pretty awesome to see. So, well, listen, before we go, how do people find out more about Miss Jayne Denham? How do they find your music, website, your merchandise? Tell us the folks how to get a hold of
so
you.
it's out there on all streaming platforms, and also all my merchandise is there. You can just check it out at www.jaynedenham.com. So it's Jayne and Denham spelled Denham.
And then you have Instagram, which is pretty busy place. What is your Instagram address?
It's just Jayne Denham, yeah.
So check it out, JayneDenham on Facebook, on Instagram. So y'all check it out, guys, and keep an eye out. Maybe me and this wonderful lady will be streaking across Australia one day, playing some cool towns and having fun and
absolutely. And I'm looking forward to getting back to America now that I'm sort of heading back into that trucking world again. I know we've talked to a couple of truck shows, so hopefully my American friends will get to see me and fans will get to see me again, hopefully starting next year. So that'll be fun.
So if I book you at my truck show, like if I book you at Large Cars and Guitars, that would be cool. You can use a Nashville band, right? So it doesn't cost me $20,000.
Well, it's a little bit expensive to bring the Aussie band over, but I've always had an American band, actually.
Cool. Well, maybe we can work on that. That'd be a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. Thanks for coming on.
And we can do our song together. I don't think we've actually ever sung it together.
We've never sung it together live, no.
Oh my gosh, we have to do that. All right.
We need to make it happen.
We need to make it happen.
Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks, guys, everybody, for tuning in. Jayne, thank you for your time and for coming on. It's always a pleasure to hang out and talk with you, and look forward to seeing you when you come back over in September. Good luck with the album and all the writing for it. I know it's exciting times. So God bless. Speed safely. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button. Love to hear you. Leave a comment. Love to hear from you guys. And thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tony Justice on the Road Show with Tony Justice and friends. Always a good time. We'll see you later. God bless and speed safely. Thanks for tuning in. If you like today's show, then do me a big favor. Mash the share button, be sure to subscribe, and leave us a review. Also, be sure to follow us on social media for more updates and behind-the-scenes content. Until next time, God bless, and as always, speed safe.